Hello and welcome to this bike guide. So on this channel I keep promoting that you should have a bike somewhere in your life. It's important. So for me, a bike is right in the middle, but if you don't ride and you don't know, well, what should I get? If you get interested in wanting to improve your life quality, I'll show you through the level of different bikes. So I'll show you what bike you should look for as your first bike, and then maybe the next upgrade, and then I would say maybe another upgrade after that is to the bike that I'm using now, that I've been riding for a long time. And yeah, it's exciting, the difference, because the bike gets faster as you get faster. So I promote a diet that keeps you lean all year round without counting calories or starving yourself. And hopefully you can see, at least from my face, that I'm lean, and I'm always lean. So this morning I was 64.5 kilos at 5'11", and yeah, I enjoy eating. But that's for another video. Today is your introduction to what bike you should get. So I hope you enjoy the video, and if you get some good information from it, then consider liking and subscribing, and yeah, we'll get to it. And even if you know your thing about bikes, it might just be interesting anyway, you could share this with people who are looking for their first bike. So here you go. So as a first bike, I would suggest getting something that looks a bit like this. So this is a women's bike, but essentially I would say the first thing you need to look for, so if you literally have never ridden, or maybe it's been a long time, I would start with a bike like this that has a flat bar. And the reason why I would say that is because it's comfortable. So if you are not used to riding in the position that I'll show you that I use, then just because you're not as flexible, this is really the most comfortable position. So you'll be sitting upright. I know you won't be aerodynamic and whatnot, but you'll be riding a bike, which is the most important thing, okay? And the next thing to look for, and you also get, as you're losing weight through the foods that I eat and riding on top, you'll be able to get yourself in a more aerodynamic and aggressive and fast position, but you'll get there eventually. The next thing I would say to look for is these types of brakes. So these are just, Tektro or whatever these ones, but essentially they don't even have to be named. These are V brakes, so just super reliable, and they just work all the time. So hopefully you can see they're nothing crazy like these disc brakes you might have seen on TV, but these work all the time, and they're really easy to maintain and look after. And I say the geometry on this is really relaxed, so this is as comfortable as you're going to get. And I'd say also these sort of bikes, you can get these really cheap now second hand. So if you're looking for something like this, or you can buy a bike like this for maybe £100 second hand. And I'd also go for aluminium. So this is an aluminium frame, so I wouldn't get a carbon fibre frame as your first bike, okay? And I'll get onto that why in a second. And I'd also, if you're looking for what brand name, so in my personal experience, I found that a brand called Giant, Giant, and Specialized are the two brand names that I would recommend, and that I've used, and yeah, they've been reliable. So if you're looking for a second-hand bike, it's Specialized or Giant. This specific model is called the Elite, I think, Elite here. But this sort of general shape of bike is what you want to look for, and they can fit wide tyres on. So these are aluminium rims, and they have big wide tyres which will be comfortable for you. And in terms of gearing and whatnot, you don't necessarily need to worry about that. So this has got 3 gears on the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the back. And I'll get more into gearing on the next bike. But essentially, this is just a great introductory bike. So if you're starting from a position where you are overweight and you want to start losing that, then obviously cycling will be your go-to, on top of already a good diet like I recommend, the foods I recommend. But cycling is the sport that will make you lose weight for the least amount of effort, if that makes sense. So I think cycling is better than running for losing weight in terms of the time you give to it. Okay, so say this will be, it'll be heavy bike, but it'll be able to support you if you're overweight, and it'll be comfortable. And as you lose weight and you become more flexible, and perhaps you become more it starts to take over your life, you'll be wanting to move to the next bike, upgrade to the next bike. So I'll show you what you'll move on to next. Okay, and also another great thing about these is, so these sort of bikes, so like cargo bikes as well, you can put panniers on or bags on, and you can sell your car, and you can use this as a commuter bike or go into the shops, and yeah, they're great. Sort of an great all-round bike as well. So the next bike here, this is sort of what you'd be upgrading to next from that one. So this is more sort of getting more sporty specific. Not quite snobby yet, but so this is a Specialized. Again, this is a road bike, specifically a road bike, because it has the curly bars, and again, this is an aluminium bike. So if you're moving to your first proper road bike, I would recommend sticking still with metal. So aluminium is the material that's used on this one, and the reason for that is because when you fall over, and you will, I don't mean badly, I just mean silly little falls. So you don't look after your bike yet properly, so it might fall over, or if you're going to the cafe, you might just, as you come to a stop, you're not quite all there yet with coordination. So you'll have just little silly falls. Nothing, you're not going to fall over and break every bone in your body. It's just the silly knocks are the ones that damage the carbon fibre, and I'll show you that in a moment. So yeah, this has curly bars, and this again is a second-hand frame from eBay, and the frame was cheap. It was, I don't remember exactly, but it was less than £100, well below £100, and all the other bits, essentially, apart from the saddle, are sort of bits that I had off other bikes. So yeah, this bike was basically less than £100, and I say the saddle was a bit more expensive. But with this, the saddle actually has a cut in the middle, a hole in the middle. So I recommend, if you're starting to ride a lot more, it's a lot more comfortable for your private parts, that relieves the pressure and it's a lot more comfortable. So we're always talking about comfort. And so on this one, it has quite a high handlebar. The handlebar is quite high compared to the saddle height, and again, that's just for comfort. So if you want to be more comfortable, again, you're not quite into the road racing position, and you don't ever need to be, really. It's about comfort, but the handlebars are quite high just to still give that comfort. And again, the brakes I recommend are these rim brake type. So I don't recommend for a road bike that has a road bike geometry and a road bike sort of ethos. So that last one that I showed you, that's the introductory bike. You can do anything on that. But when you're upgrading to the road, I would say, so these are 25mm wide tyres, and I would say a road bike really is 25mm, 23mm, sort of that range. When it's bigger than that, I say you're sort of moving over into a gravel bike or a mountain bike. So this is personally what I recommend to have if you want to feel the most performance for your money and the most performance for your effort. And at this point, you're not going to be well trained, so you're just wanting to look to enjoy your riding. Again, this bike, as it is right now, it's fairly heavy, but it's a lot lighter than that one. And as you're moving towards the road bike, you'll be thinking more and more about all of the specific stuff to make your bike lighter. So it's got Shimano gears and brakes. Again, I recommend if you're looking for me personally, I found that Shimano has been reliable, and specifically Shimano 105. Okay, so if you're looking for a group set, as they call it, to use Shimano 105. Okay, and this has just flat pedals, so these don't have cleats, the cleat system yet. Okay, I'll show you that in a moment. So it's just, and I don't recommend with these where you can get like these straps that go over your foot, so you put your foot in and it's just a strap and you tighten it down. I don't recommend those. They're scary because if you need to take the foot out quickly, they can be scary. So don't buy them. Don't recommend them. Okay. So again, just aluminium rims, and there's no electronic gears, it's all mechanical, and this is really easy to look after. Even if you start learning to do your thing, look after your bike yourself, when everything's mechanical and these rim brakes, it's very easy to look after it yourself. Okay, and when you take it to your local bike shop, they won't roll their eyes when they see another modern bike. Okay? That's for another video. And now for the ultimate upgrade so this is be something that you'll be looking to get after perhaps a few years of riding your bike, 2 years or so, for example, 2 or 3 years. This is the bike that I ride every day, and does it look fast? So again, this is a Giant, and this is a Giant TCR SL, and it's made of carbon fibre. So this is like your motivation to get lean and fit and flexible, more flexible, and used to riding on a machine like this. So when I talk about ultimate machine, I'm not talking about a Lamborghini, okay? I'm talking about a lightweight carbon fibre road bike, okay? So this has Shimano again. On this one it's Dura Ace, and it's Dura Ace mechanical. It's an old group set now, 9100, but I found that I've really liked it, and I'm sticking with it because it just always works. Well, most of the time. Again, it's rim brake, and yeah, carbon fibre. At the moment, it has a carbon fibre front wheel and an aluminium back wheel, and that's just because I'm moving over to my race wheels from my training wheels, which are aluminium. But you don't necessarily need to use, and I'll show you here, you don't necessarily need to use carbon rims. So a good pair of aluminium wheels, so like this. So this is a Mavic a Mavic Serium Pro, and this is actually probably 10 years old now, this model of make. And again, this wheel is several years old, and with the bike that I have behind me here, in terms of weight, I'm looking at around 6.8 kilos with the carbon wheels and these really lightweight tyres, so quite lightweight tyres anyway. So these are Continental tyres, and I recommend, in terms of tyre choice that I've had, so Continental has been fairly good. The Vittorias I found, especially the Vittoria Corsa Controls, have been pretty reliable. And this is a Continental 5000, GP 5000. Again, I found them to be pretty reliable. So I can say from personal experience, I've had, well, fairly good experience with those two companies, or those two type of tires. So I recommend them. And I have the Vittoria on the back and Continental on the front, but I'll be changing that over. But as you can see, so it was 6.8 kilos with the carbon rims and about 6.97 with aluminium rims. So you can see when you get to this stage, it feels amazing to ride. So as you can see here, I've got road specific cleats, and I don't think you necessarily need these. I suppose I'm just a bit of a snob, but I don't recommend using these type of cleats. I think you can use the mountain bike cleats, and I'll show you that in a moment. So again, yeah, it's all mechanical. I think fairly easy to do for most things, like changing gear cable should be fairly okay. I had trouble once when I lost the cable inside the frame, and it took me a while to fish it out, but that'll be another video. So yeah, this is a Giant, and this wasn't second hand. This is a 2024 Giant TCR SL frame, but again, I recommend there's some really good frames going second hand at the moment, because people are switching to disc brakes for some reason, and you can get some really good deals second hand that would have been a £10,000 bike 10 years ago is now £500. So it's worth looking online to see if you can get a good deal. But first, don't go too quick. Start slow, and then eventually you'll be flying. Okay, flying. So I hope this video helped, and I'd say also an important thing is for safety is you get yourself a little racing mirror. They call them racing mirror. Just a little bar and mirror, just like you would if you once drove a car. You have mirrors and you use them, don't you? So why not use them when you're riding your bike? So a bike that I would not use, and I'll show you that right now, is something like this. So I don't ride this, it's just a prop for this video. So, because I prefer performance rather than just going what everyone else is doing. So this is again a Giant, but this is big, heavy, slow bike, and I'm not about that. So these are mountain bike pedals, and I would suggest that you use these. You know, they're easy to use, and the shoes that you use with them, you can walk around much easier. And again, that'll be for another video. But I'd avoid bikes for your first bike that has brakes like that. And there's no reason why you need them if you're just riding on the road. If you're riding off-road, which I don't really do much of at the moment anyway, so this is more what you'd have for that. But even then, I'd prefer something just like a mountain bike, cross-country mountain bike. They're much better than I found stuff like this. But that's something you might discover the further you go down the rabbit hole. But I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something. Hopefully you learned something. These are what I've learned, and the advice I'd give someone who wants to get into cycling. Start slow, and then once you get going and you have months and years and you're getting fitter and leaner, then you can do the step upgrades and you'll learn more about cycling and the tech, and especially these bikes that you can work on them yourself. So you can look up YouTube videos, for example, and how do I replace a cable, and it's cheap, it's easy to do, and that's why I wouldn't recommend necessarily the newer stuff that you see that has integrated cabling through the handlebars, through the stem, through the forks, with disc brakes, because you'll be going to your local bike shop over and over again, and it'll be expensive. So yeah, I hope this helped. And if you want to get lean like I am, I've got plenty of other videos on the channel explaining how I do it. And you'll one day, soon, might be looking like me, enjoying yourself on an amazing machine like this. 6.8 kilos. So yeah, feels great when you're going uphill, and yeah, feels good. That's what life's about, isn't it? Feeling good. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and until then, thank you for your time.